This cow will die at the start of the next episode. Today, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to finally finish my villager house, which I sort of half did in the last episode, and I'm also going to tell you about a time that I nearly died, or at least the close I've been to dying. I don't know if I nearly died. You can make that judgment yourself. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. So, have you heard of the Lake District in England? It's a mountain range, I suppose. It's an area with a lot of mountains in it, and me and my friends like to go there from time to time. It's a fun place to go, you know. Fun for all the family. There's some big mountains, there's some small mountains, there's some lakes. If you could have guessed it, the Lake District. And we picked a particularly long walk to do one winter. I think it was winter 2025, so this is like a year and a half ago now. And I'm still alive, so, you know, I didn't actually die. But yeah, we picked a long walk to do in the winter. When I say we, I'm more me and my friend. I wasn't really too keen on doing like a huge long walk in the winter because, you know, you don't get as much sunlight. And if it starts to get dark on the mountain, you know, we don't take torches or anything. We're not professional climbers or anything. We're just amateurs that like the odd walk up a mountain. So he picked this really long walk. I saw, you know, I sort of said like, I'm not really so sure about this. You know, is this really such a good idea? But he won the argument. I don't think there's really much of an argument. We sort of made a good enough case where we could leave really early in the morning. I need more dirt. We could leave really early in the morning, and then it would be fine. We'd finish our walk in good time, come back home happy, drive home. Bob's your uncle, jobs are good. But it didn't quite go that way. So I swear that we checked the weather app, you know, BBC weather, whatever. We checked the weather app that morning, and I swear it looked all good. I swear it was going to be, you know, a lovely day in the mountains. You know, a bit cold. It was winter, obviously, but you know, we dress warm. We're not idiots, I think. And then it comes to the walk itself. You know, we set off really early in the morning. Kind of want to fill that hole in, but that's also just not my aim right now. How much dirt we got? I need more dirt. More dirt, more dirt. We set off early in the morning. It's dark. It's like pitch black, but we know that the sun will come out as we start to walk. So we're in a little area called Coniston. It's a lovely area. It's got a lake and it has a round of mountains. The first one being called the Old Man of Coniston. It's the only one with the name of the place in its title. So yeah, we're going up the Old Man of Coniston. Starting to get lighter. Things are going well. You know, the weather's okay. Not too bad. Just a bit cold, really. Nothing crazy. Nothing to report, really. Let me just go to bed real quick. I am not dying to nighttime mobs. What are you looking at? Oh, you want this bed? Get out of here. Yeah, things are going well. We get to the top of our first mountain. I think there was 6 mountains to do in total. A lot of the walks you might do if you do a bit of climbing yourself. By climbing, I don't mean like on your hands and knees. I more mean hiking, I suppose. But if you do a bit of climbing / hiking yourself, you'll know that. I can't even remember what I was saying. You get to the top and it's cold or it's windy. I don't even know. I've completely lost my train of thought there. But I shall continue the story. We pick it up from the top of the Old Man of Coniston. So we move on to the second mountain. That was what I was saying. You do these walks called horseshoe walks, where it doesn't mean if you do 6 or 7 mountains, unintentional, it doesn't mean that you're going to go up and down the whole way of each mountain. It doesn't mean you go up one mountain, down and down to the very bottom of the same mountain, up another one. That's not what it is. It's sort of like once you're up, you know? You get up one mountain, then the other 5 or 6 mountains, they're more comfortable to do because you've already done a lot of the climbing in your first mountain. So, I'll take you back to where we were in the story. I also have no food. Let's go fix that. So we move on to our second mountain. You know, it's a relatively flat walk to the next mountain. I don't really know how they decided to name all of these mountains when some of them are just sort of attached to other more significant mountains. But, you know, things are going well. We get to the second mountain, but what starts to get a bit worse is the visibility. The clouds are starting to close in. You know, the visibility around us gets worse. You can't see as far. You can't see back to where we started, which is often quite a pleasant thing to do on walks. If you do a walk in the summertime, I should probably just take the melon, shouldn't I, actually? If you do a walk in the summer, it's lovely to look at all the views and stuff if it's not a cloudy day. Because, you know, you can't get cloudy days in the summer, especially in the UK. The weather is just, it just makes no sense, basically. So yeah, the visibility is getting worse, but that's fine. We've done walks in poor visibility before. This is not anything new to us. We're not freaked out, you know? I think that's enough melons, isn't it? That'll do for now. So we move from our second mountain to our third one, and this is where it starts to get a bit sketchy. I'm going to go finish the villager house now. So we're walking from the second mountain to the third one, and basically, imagine like the face of a mountain. We're walking on this little path along like the middle of the face of the mountain. So we have a drop to our left, but we have mountain to our right, which we could like lean against if the wind got really bad. And oh boy, did it get bad. The wind, it is without a doubt the worst wind I have ever experienced in my entire life. It was horrible. A sheep? What are you doing here? You know what? I'm going to share this guy while he's here. I also forgot to share all the other sheep. The wind gets really bad. The wind is so bad that while we're walking along this path that I described, we're getting blown off our feet. It's really bad. It's not so bad that we want to turn around. You know, if you climb mountains every now and then, you know that there are worse bits and there are better bits. You know, so we just assume that this is one of the worst bits. You know, the wind's going to be a bit strong because we're on this particular angle. You know, it's hitting us right. The wind's going this way, so it's sort of like hitting our feet and tripping us up a little as we walk. That's how strong it was. But one of the worst things actually was just how loud it was. It was really howling to the point where we couldn't talk to each other. That's one of the best things about going hiking with your mate. You know, you converse, you share stories, you say delightful, wonderful things to each other, and just talk the entire time. The wind was so bad that for like 30 minutes we just walked and didn't talk to each other because you couldn't hear anything. It's so bad that it gives you like if the wind's coming at you, it gives you like a headache on the front of your head. Awful. So powerful, strong, loud wind. But anyway, we finally get to the end of this path and we go to the third mountain. You know, the wind's calmed down a little bit. It's not like it's not gone. It's still there, but we can deal with it. It's not as bad as it was on that path. So there, second mountain done, bad path done, third mountain done. And then we move on to the fourth. Now the wind starts to pick up a bit again. Moving on to the fourth mountain, and the wind starts to pick up again. You know, it's getting back to sort of the howly stage it was. It's getting back to the powerful stage where it pushes you. You know, you're leaning into the wind at times. It's pretty unpleasant, but again, we don't really think at any point like this is more than we can handle. You know, it seems manageable, so we just keep on going, and we get the fourth mountain done. Now, this is where it gets really ropey. So we're going from the fourth to the fifth mountain now. We saw this plane wreck style thing. It was kind of like harrowing. Like you're on a walk and the wind's already howling. The wind's super powerful, and we saw this plane wreck that was apparently a story from a long time ago. Well, there was no story. We were seeing this plane in the flesh. It was real, but some pilot in bad visibility, as we were experiencing. I also didn't say the visibility didn't get any better during this time. But yeah, some pilot had got into bad visibility and had crashed into this mountain, and what we were seeing in front of us was the wreckage that was left of his plane, and that was like, if we were already a bit like, this walk is not going kind of as planned, then oh yeah, sorry, I should probably do this actually. Ta-da! Okay. If the walk already wasn't going quite as planned, seeing a plane wreck, and you know that someone died there, it's really freaky, really. So that was not a nice sight, but we continue on. You know, you're not going to stop because you saw that a pilot died many, many years ago. So we keep going, and the wind gets worse. That was the danger. Do you ever think about weather? You know, wind is the worst kind of weather. I would rather bad rain than wind, because you can deal with a bit of rain, you know, assuming you've got the correct like clothes and stuff, which we did. You know, we had big thick coats and stuff. You can deal with a bit of that, but wind is it's just an absolute nightmare. And it got so bad that you had to like really push into the wind to actually keep yourself moving. You really had to like lean forwards and walk into the wind. Like if you stopped walking and let your body go limp, you're getting blown backwards. So it was pretty tough. There's another one. Oh no, it's the same wandering trader from last video, I think. It was pretty tough. We did not love it at all, but we kept going. We kind of thought like it'll get better, right? You know, it can't get any worse than it already is. So just about we reached the fifth mountain. You know, a bit battered by the wind. I also didn't collect enough dirt. I always do this. A bit battered by the wind, but we're still there. We're still alive and kicking, you know? And we take a moment's rest at the top of every mountain you have what's called a cairn. And a cairn is like to mark the very top of the mountain. I think you're like meant to add a rock to it when you go there. Yeah, so it's like a big pile of rocks, a cairn. And you're meant to add a rock, sorry, to the pile to increase it. So these cairns, they never die. They keep being grown by every walker that comes to do a walk there. Which we don't do, actually. Me and my friend, we never seem to do the whole like adding adding a rock to the cairn. But that's not the point. We take shelter at this cairn. We sit on the side of it where the wind isn't battering us, and we take a minute to just talk to each other. And my friend floats the idea for the first time of, do we turn back? Now, you must remember that it's a winter's day. We are 5 mountains into a 7 mountain walk. So what are our options? I explained that with every mountain you don't go all the way up and all the way down. So to go back down, we'd have to go all the way back to the first mountain and go down from there. So I'm not really keen to stop. I don't think he is either. I think he just floated the idea, really. But I think we thought, the 6th mountain we could sort of see through the mist and the fog. And the angle it was at, we were like, it's going to protect us from the wind. If we just get to this next mountain, we'll be fine. The wind will be behind like this big bit of mountain face and it won't be battering us anymore. So, we picked up our courage because the wind is super strong still at this point. It's still super loud and the visibility is still terrible. We picked up a bit of courage and we started moving towards the 6th mountain. And straight away, we got the most powerful wind of the entire walk. I mean, I kid you not, I had to drop down and get low to the ground to stop it from physically moving me backwards. I was, safe to say, not a big fan of this wind. And it was kind of scary, Me and my friends, we quickly looked at each other in a moment of panic and went, we have to go back. We couldn't make it to the 6th mountain. If we had kept pushing on there, a gust of wind that was a bit too strong would have blown us away. And if we stopped and waited for someone to come get us, that wasn't an option either. No plane, no helicopter is going to come out and get you when the wind is that strong and the visibility is that bad. So it was just us. And we knew that if we pushed on and something went wrong, that was it. It's curtains. Life is not something to play around with, Why would you take this risk? The risk versus reward. The reward is what? You climb a couple more mountains, you complete this walk that you set out to do. But the risk is that the wind blows you off the edge. I mean, I haven't really described as well, the setting we're in at this point. It's quite a narrow bit of mountain with drops on either side. It's not so narrow that the mountain's in between our legs or anything and we're crawling along it. It's quite wide. It's I don't know, the width of maybe half of a badminton court. A bit more than badminton court. That's what we were walking along, and it just felt so easy to get blown off. This wind was so strong. So we sort of looked at each other, both a bit panicked, both a bit freaked out. I mean, I've never come close to dying. I've never had any big injuries, big time. I've never broke a bone. I've never been in a car crash. The classic things that people do, not intentionally, obviously, but I've never been close to dying. But man, that wind, I don't know if I'm really putting it across, how bad it was. But it was real bad. So we sort of look at each other in a bit of a panic and be like, we have to go back. We have to turn back. So we sort of shout to each other because of how loud and powerful the wind is. All this time, I'm pretty much on my hands and knees from this wind. And we're yeah, we have to go back. Bed is too far away. Get lost. We have to go back. There was no choice. There was no logical choice where we kept moving forward. So we started walking backwards. Now the wind's on our back, so we're getting pushed forward quite a bit. But honestly, the fact that we're walking to somewhere a bit safer, it's quite a nice feeling, really. It was quite a safe feeling. We knew we'd made the right decision. And we sort of looked at each other and said, do you want to run? Yeah, let's run. So we ran. We ran all the way back to the first bits of descent. We ran along the entire, do you remember the windy path from the start? We ran along that entire thing, and the wind was still strong, so it was still picking up our feet a little bit, but none of us fell over or anything. So we ran and we ran and we ran until we got back to, if you remember, the Old Man of Coniston, the very first mountain. And we got to the top of that. I think we actually went down a little bit. There was an option to go down a little bit before the peak of the Old Man of Coniston. So we started headed down. And I think we were finally blocked off from the wind. I think we just took a minute to take it all in. Wow, that was too much. That was scary. If you've never been in a situation where you think wow, things could really go wrong here, it is scary, big time. And we just sort of took a minute, man, that was too much. And if you remember from the start of the story, my friend had convinced us to go on this walk, so I think he felt a bit guilty about that. But it's fine. I could have refused to go on this walk. But yeah, we started to head down. There was a lovely lake on the way down. But I think we just sort of felt, I don't know, appreciative of... You come close to dying? Is it dying? You just come close to something bad happening, and you really sort of appreciate the peaceful side of things, which is what we were experiencing on the way down and next to this lake. And I know, I'm telling this story. People have been through worse. I'm fully aware of that. People have been through worse. They've come closer to dying than me and my friend did. And that's fine. And, I hope those people aren't like haunted by what happened to them, but it doesn't make my experience any less scary for me just because other people have gone through it. I'm not... Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's like saying that, oh, don't be depressed. There's kids in Africa that are starving. It's like, that's not how it works. So, yeah, I'm going to put these beds down. And I think that'll be the end of this one. But I don't know if I want you to comment and share a life-threatening experience that you've also had. I don't think that's what I want. But, yeah, I suppose there's no comments that I outright want you to leave. I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope it wasn't too much. I don't know, would it be? It's just some friends going up a mountain and nearly getting blown off ultimately, so... Yeah. 4 beds. Let's breed some villagers, and then I'll call it a day. But I definitely wanted to share that story at some point. I think Minecraft is definitely the game that makes the most sense to do it sort of around... Especially when I've got a job like this. It was perfect for today to tell that story, because I'm just making some dumbass house. Like, I'm not really doing a whole lot here. Right, let's... I can't really take any villagers there. I think if I just... Wait, how do I... Oh, I dropped that. That's right, I forgot. I drop it for you. I think if I just give them bread, then they will hopefully make some baby villagers for those beds. I don't think I can give it to the jobless villagers. Is that the same villager that I've just given it to? God, my brain. Here, Mr. Farmer, have some bread. Go make some babies. I think I'll plant one more bed, because I've got enough black wool to make a bed. And I'll empty my inventory as well, because that has been annoying me to say the least. But yeah, the point of all this, by the way, Minecraft-wise, is we're going to create a lot of villagers. And they're all going to be in here. And then I'm going to take some of them to... Oh, that's annoying, isn't it? To an iron farm. I think I want to put 2 in the middle. I'm going to take them to an iron farm. I'm going to make an iron farm. Maybe next episode? I definitely want to breed some more villagers. Maybe I can go, like, cave exploring next episode. Because I think I can still die to a creeper explosion, which I'm very scared about. Okay, let's empty my inventory. Let's call it a day. I will make a shovel next time. Let's chuck all the stuff we don't need in here. Oh, well, don't need. We'll deal with another time. That's how I'm going to put it. I'll put the bread away. That's mainly just for breeding villagers. I'll cook the meat. And I'll make some tools next time. I wasn't even looking at my chest there. I think it's pretty messy. Let's put the meat in there. And yeah. Thank you for watching. And I will hold on for the meat. See you next time.